Good morning, America. What's going on? America, Colombia, who's ever listening to me. It's Saturday. It's the 7th of June. I have no idea what's really going on in the world. Musk and Trump are going at it again, which makes everybody very happy, you know. And the funny thing is, the Republicans are spending $1 billion to feed Trump's ego. Now, you know, this is what he wants. He wants to be a king. He wants to rule over everybody and have everybody kiss his ass. People like me are a pain in his ass. But nobody really listens to me, so I'm not that big a pain. But he's got this attitude that everything he does to make money, and how he uses money to blackmail people into doing things, the threats of loss of income and what have you, that's just disgusting. That's not a normal attitude, you know. He's not an empathetic bone in that man's body, and that's sad, but very true. What else is going on? Hegseth's in trouble, like always. I mean, you know, he's been in trouble since Spygate and since before that. But the thing is, Trump can't find anybody more loyal than he is, so he's probably going to be around forever. There's nothing you can do about it. Musk is saying, well, I'm going to be here for 40 years. You can't get rid of me. Trump's only going to be here for 3.5 years. Trump's going to be there a lot longer than that if he has his way. If you don't really study that bill that's going through, and they put that bill through, and you see the fact that he can be that allows him to run in 2028, which I don't think he'll be capable of doing, but that's besides the point, you know. And he can also develop a kingship, a royalty. You know, and if he does that, you're screwed. Musk is screwed because he's got to deal with that. Eric and Barron and everybody else, you know, and they're all just as screwed up as his father is, and you don't think they are, you're crazy. Ivanka's in there too, you know. Queen. I think she's not the oldest child. I think Eric's the oldest child. He would be the next in line. Then probably Ivanka and then Barron, you know, but we'll see. But that's all part of the deal, you know. This is what he wants. Absolute rule, because he thinks he's right. And when this country is in massive financial straits and probably in serious conflicts around the world, she says, no, that won't happen. Well, you're going to surrender and just sit back? Probably that's what he's planning on doing. He's not planning on getting involved in any of the wars. You know, any of these situations that out there that could cause a world war. You know, I mean, he doesn't understand that if you put certain people like Putin or I keep forgetting how to pronounce Xi or Little Kim in the very back against the wall, you're dealing with rats. And a rat's not a dangerous animal. A rat's a very docile animal most of the time. Just eats to survive and support his family. They're basically very docile until you back them into a wall. When you back them into a wall, especially if it's a corner, they become one of the most vicious animals on the planet. They'll they'll jump at your face to tear your eyes out, bite your nose off. They're crazy little bastards, you know. That's what you have to watch out with them. If you see them in the street, they don't come out. They don't start to attack you. They don't run after you. They run in the opposite direction. They just want to be left alone. But corner them, man. All these countries are the same way. You put Putin or Xi or Kim into a corner, you know, all they need is one ally, and that's it. They're done. They're gonna come. They're just gonna set off those rockets, and of course that's the end of the world. But you know, they don't care. They absolutely do not care. All right, moving right along. The Supreme Court granted the Doge people, I don't care what you call them, Department of Organized Excrement, for access to the Social Security data. Now, I got a clue for you. I thought the government knew everything that was in the Social Security anyhow, since it was a government agency. I didn't know that they didn't know anything, that the agency kept it all private. I have nothing to hide there, and I would suggest about 99% of the Americans have nothing to hide there. But since they get health information and other information out of that, there's a lot that they can use against people, you know, and they can forge it to make them look like criminals or what have you, you know, and that's just not something I want to see happen. I think he's, you know, I always thought the government had all this information. My complaint is always that the government had too much information. Now they want that information, or they want to give it to a civilian. I think the part that's upsetting everybody is they want to give that information to a basically civilian, non-governmental agency. Okay? That's like taking your address and your phone number from in credit card information when you buy something online and selling it to advertisers. You know, maybe that's what they want to do. They want to sell that information to advertisers. I don't answer. All those emails do is clog my email box up, and the phone rings for about. I get about 15 phone calls at the beginning of every month from the telemarketers for the Claro and Movie Star and even Tigo, which I have. So I don't, with the cable companies. So I don't pay any attention to it. You know, occasionally we answer a Claro call and we get a great deal, or a Tigo call and we get a great deal, and we change. We take the deal. It's simple, you know. But even down here, more streaming services are getting involved. It's more about streaming, you know. You have Amazon Prime is on given to you, and Netflix is given to you with your cable subscriptions, you know. And you can get them without a cable subscription. All you need is the internet, you know. So internet's going to get expensive. That's how they're going to make these companies are going to make their money. I guess, I don't know, because they don't. If you use a streaming service, they're not making any money. Loss of cable sales, you know. Right now, you can't get local news on the streaming at least the streaming services that are available down here. So you pretty much have to go to get cable TV to get news, you know, because you don't get TV without cable TV. They do sell the antennas and whatnot around here, but the problem is you can't put them up on some of the apartment complexes. They won't let you put them up. You put them on the roof, you know, so that they really work really good. And then you get cables running down the side of the building, and the wind that blows around here will rip those cables right off the side of the building. So, but getting this, I can understand there's a lot of people about Social Security data, but what does Social Security know about you? They know I'm retired. I have no income other than Social Security. that's about it. I don't. There's nothing in there that's going to tell him what my general health is or anything like that. Uh, so I don't see it. I don't like the idea that. I never like the idea that the government knows a lot about you, but it's not something that I'm going to go make a huge issue for. I guess some people would, especially if they're cheating on this, they're cheating the government on the Social Security. So I guess they'd be very upset about that. I told you about Hegseth, and yeah, I don't know whether he's in trouble or not, but I think that the point that I was told about that was that he doesn't have anybody that is loyal to him as Hegseth, who has any knowledge of the military that he could put in that place. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. As far as the feud goes, there's a great many people down here that think it's just a joke. It's a way of hiding what he's really doing. Because I've said this, that I read an article, I don't know whether it's true or not, but it listed the things that Trump wanted to do that are included in that big, beautiful bill of his that could screw the American public. There's a lot of election suppression laws in there, and the fact that he can run for a third term, and that he can actually move towards being a king. That's all in that bill, supposedly. Hidden, and that's why people are saying that they don't believe the Trump-Musk feud is real. They believe it's a distraction, because when people go out and you start talking to people like, down here, says, did you see what Musk said about Trump the other day, and Trump said about Musk, and what they're going to do? They're going to pull all that money out. No, they're not. Trump would basically, if Trump canceled the contracts with SpaceX, he would basically destroy the space program, and he'd have a whole bunch of satellites floating around up in space that are basically there to monitor your communications and whatnot. That would be useless. And the contracts will say, well, people said they're already up there. What's that mean? They said, well, the contracts cover maintenance and software and what have you, and that's more important than the actual physical product, because the way things are going now, any backyard rocket player can put a small satellite into orbit. So it's more about the software that it carries, its purpose, its technology. That's the problem, and the maintenance of that's in the contract that he has with the United States, because just to put them into space would have been a one-time payment. It wouldn't have been a renewing contract. So space exploration would be damaged severely. What else? Doesn't look like the moon landings are going to be accomplished as early as they thought they were. So that would put bigger hold on them and stuff. But I said, NASA got along pretty well without Musk involvement, and with the other companies doing it. So we'll see what happens there. Musk has a lot of companies. The damage he does to Tesla is like he lost $152 million in one day, which he made part of it back already. So it's not the end of the world. So you sit there and you say, well, this could be maybe this won't be as bad as everybody thinks it's going to be. So we'll just have to sit back and say, see what happens there. I don't think that he's as smart as he thinks he is, but I know Trump isn't as smart as he thinks he is. I don't know that much about Musk, because he's basically stayed in the background until about 2 years ago when he started to get involved in politics, and then he became, a problem. He shot himself in the foot by getting involved with Trump and the Doge thing. The protests against Tesla, that just about ruined that company, which shows you how popular Doge is, you know. All right, listen, do me a favor. It's Saturday. I will not be here tomorrow. So please do me a favor and hit the like and the subscribe buttons for me. And I will talk to you on Monday. So have a great weekend, folks.